We have folks from surrounding towns in Minnesota and Wisconsin, as well as quite a distance, such as Duluth, Iowa, Rochester, and the Land Rangers. So welcome to everyone. We are really glad you're here to learn more about Luisa and the Divine Show. Some of you know a lot about it, and some of you don't know much at all. So we welcome everyone. Can you hear me okay? So my name is Lori Famoto, and I would like to give you a little history about this place. My late husband, Mark Anderson, and I raised our 10 children here, as well as had a greenhouse business for 25 years called Anderson Plant Farm. Maybe some of you know that. So we had 17 greenhouses and lots of work and lots of kids. And it was quite the activity for 25 years. Actually, this house here was our retail house, so that's why I have it. After my husband's sudden death in 2007, there was much sorrow and desolation in our life as we dismantled the greenhouses, and the beauty of much love and many years was flattened to the ground. Everything seemed lost and forgotten. But even through the darkness of death, faith and inspiration blossomed and sparked the idea of mystical rose gardens. And so began the work to transform a plant farm into a garden paradise. After about 3 years, I could see that I kind of bit off more than I could chew. So I began to pray for the perfect maintenance man, one that would understand and love the vision that the Lord had given to me. It wasn't long, and the Lord blessed me with not only the perfect maintenance man, but a wonderful husband. His name is Mark. He is the one responsible for making this place so very beautiful and bringing to fruition and completion the vision I received over 10 years ago, which includes the Stations of the Cross and an amazing chapel. The chapel is not finished, but you are welcome to walk the stations anytime during this conference, which is across the road. You'll see it when you walk. I'd like also to introduce you to Our Lady, the Mystical Rose. In case you are not familiar to this image of her, the 3 roses, red, yellow, and white, represent prayer, sacrifice, and penance. She urges us to pray the rosary and penance for the conversion of sinners, and to pray especially for priests. Mystical Rose Gardens is dedicated to her, and the chapel is named after her, Maria Rosa Luisa. There is more information in the back there if you would like to know more about the Mystical Rose. So now for some housekeeping. The restrooms are in the retreat house, which you just follow the sidewalk around to the front of the other building. You are also welcome to visit Memory Lane. It's a hallway just past the bathrooms, and you'll see Anderson Plant Farm and Mark Anderson and the light that we had way back when. So there is a water station over there, and tea and coffee available throughout the conference. Sorry if we ran out already. So I'd like to thank Sherry Turbeville. She's our coffee lady and our photographer. So thank you, Sherry. You will also find a schedule in your folder, and we will ring a bell 5 minutes prior to every talk. Thanks to Monica Kohlers, who will be keeping us on schedule. She'll be the one ringing the bell, and for all the work she did for the registrations. I know a lot of you get to visit with her, and she enjoyed that part of this very much. So we will begin our day tomorrow with Mass at 8 a.m., followed by a continental breakfast. Lunch will be served about noon, and then we will have appetizers and some beer and wine while we enjoy a social time after the conference. We are videotaping this conference, and we'll have it put on our website, which is divinewillmysticalrose.org. And we'll put that on there as soon as we get it finished. Thanks to James Anderson for taking care of that and for helping us with the sound system. Also, Monica Kohlers' brother-in-law, Susan Christensen. Thank Greg for that. So there is paper and pens in the back in case you need that. And there is a book table with some books for sale and samples of Daniel's book and also Luisa's volumes. We couldn't have them all here, but we have the information if you want to order it. So thanks to Mary and Sylvie Kohlers for attending those tables. So also be passing a basket for donations for our speaker Daniel O'Connor near the end of the conference. All money for voting him and his ministry. And I'm sure you noticed the beautiful table decorations. Thanks to Jennifer Medley and her children for the time spent creating these for us. And I believe she will sell the copy at the end of the conference as well. So now I would like to introduce to you our guest speaker all the way from New York. Daniel O'Connor is a philosophy professor who holds a master's degree in theology from the Catholic Seminary. He teaches courses in general philosophy and religion and is also a doctoral student working on a PhD in philosophy. Daniel is the founder of the Divine World Missionaries of Mercy. He may be contacted through his personal website, which is dsboconnor.com. Daniel teaches in and writes from New York, where he lives with his wife and 3 children. So if you would welcome Daniel with me.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Our Lady Queen of Heaven, pray for us. Saint Joseph, pray for us. Saint Anna, pray for us. Servant of God, Luisa, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All right, so we're going to be together for a couple of days here, going over a number of talks, which means that my first order of business has to be figuring out strategically how to make sure that everybody's paying attention. With my students, I can threaten a bad grade. With my kids, I can threaten no desserts. I was trying to think, what can I threaten? I was at a loss, and I realized that I have this thing right here. And I can throw it at you. You will not survive. So that's my way of admitting that my book is rather large. It's quite massive, but I'm going to be drawing heavily from it in these talks. Obviously, we won't be exhaustive material in this, so I highly recommend it. You can get it for free, it's completely free. You can hop on your phone right now if you want to just search for The Crown of Sanctity, and it will come right up. You get a PDF or an ebook for free. And if you want the paperback, it's $12 on Amazon Prime today shipping. So I don't make any money off the paperback either because I didn't want to make any money off of this. And that doesn't mean I'm at all noble. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm very selfish. And I mean that in all seriousness. I am 100% confident, convinced that the effects of spreading the knowledge of the divine will is going to do a lot more good for me than just a bit of a royalty or something. Some people can't fathom why I'm in charge of it, but I'm trying to get into their heads. It's because I'm selfish. I really believe in what I'm saying. I really believe, I know that the kingdom is going to come. And it will come proportional to the time it comes, proportional to our spreading of the knowledge. So I don't want to do anything that can hinder the knowledge being spread, so hence it's free. In case there's somebody here that won't take my book throwing threats seriously, and if that doesn't inspire you enough to pay attention, I figured I'm going to use inspiration instead of fear. Fear works well with my students and maybe my kids from time to time. I'm going to have to use inspiration with you guys. So I wanted to start our talks with just several minutes of quotes from Luisa's writings on what's coming, on the nature of the kingdom to come on earth, the era of peace. For those who've never heard any of this before and have no idea what I'm talking about, real quick crash course in about 10 seconds. A glorious era of peace is going to come in the world, it's guaranteed, but it's up to us to make it happen sooner. That was what Jesus told Luisa in about 8,000 pages. So I'm going to try to compress that into a few talks here. Jesus often refers to this time to Luisa as when my will as its kingdom upon earth. And let's take a look at just a couple quotes about what that's going to be like. I want you to hold this in your head through these talks to inspire you to take as seriously as possible what Jesus is telling Luisa. Here's one of the promises he makes about the era. Jesus says, "My daughter, when my will has its kingdom upon earth and souls living, faith will no longer have any shadow, no more enigmas, but everything will be clarity and certainty. The light of my volition will bring in the very created things the clear vision of their Creator. Creatures will touch with their own hands, and everything is done for love of them. The human will is now shadowed with faith. Passions are clouds that obscure the clear light of it. And it happens as to the sun, when thick clouds form in the lower air. Even though the sun is there, the clouds advance against the light. It seems it is dark, as if it were nighttime. And if one had never seen the sun, you would find it hard to believe the sun is there. But if a mighty wind dispelled the clouds, who would dare to say that the sun does not exist, as they would touch its radiant light with their own hands? Such is the condition in which faith finds itself, because my will does not reign. People are almost like the blind, who must believe others that God exists. But when my divine fiat reigns, its light will make them touch the existence of their Creator with their own hands. Therefore, it will no longer be necessary to say it to others. The shadows of clouds will exist no more." And while Jesus was saying this, he made a wave. This is Luisa now. Say it again. While Jesus was saying this, he made a wave of joy and light come out of his heart, which will give more life to creatures. And with emphasis of love, Jesus added, "How I long for the kingdom of my Lord. It will put an end to the troubles of the creatures and to our sorrows. Heaven and earth will smile together. Our feasts and theirs will reacquire the order of the beginning of creation. We will place a veil over everything, so that the feasts may never again be interrupted." A very holy mystic even now looks at anything created by God, a tree, even a simple flower, and he or she is immediately touched by God's grace. It's not the beatific vision, but a mystic can clearly see the glory of God reflected in everything. Well, Jesus is here promising Luisa the whole world will be that way in the era, and that everybody will see that glory that clearly. Let's take a look at one more promise before we dive into the next topic here. I want to read one more quote on the era. "Everything will be transformed," to Jesus' words. "My will make greater display, so much so as to form a new enchantment of prodigious beauties never before seen, for the whole heaven and for all the earth. So once the divine will and the human are placed in harmony, giving dominion and regime to the divine, as is wanted by us, the human nature," and when Jesus says the human nature to Luisa, he's usually referring to the body. "The human nature loses the sad effects and remains as beautiful as it came out of our creative hands. Now in the Queen of Heaven," he's talking about Our Lady there, of course, "all our work is on her human will, which receives with joy the dominion of ours. And our will, finding no opposition on her part, operated prodigies with graces. And by virtue of my divine volition, she remained sanctified and did not feel the sad effects and evils that other creatures feel. Therefore, my daughter, once the cause is removed, the effects end. Oh, if my divine will enters into creatures and reigns in them, it will banish all evils in them, and will communicate to them all goods, to soul and body." We tend to forget that every single evil, not just of the moral order, but of the physical order, is a result of sin. None of it would have happened if there wasn't a fall. There wouldn't be any suffering of any sort. The cause of all of it is sin. And there is so much suffering in the world today because sin reigns in the world so deeply today. When sin is cast out, the effects of sin are cast out with it. There will be bodily transformation as well, like Jesus says. He continues, "My daughter, you must know that the body did nothing evil, but all the evil was done by the human will. Before sinning, Adam possessed the complete life of my divine will in his soul. One can say that he was filled to the brim, to the extent that it overflowed outside. So by virtue of my will, the human will transfused light outside, emitted fragrances of his Creator, beauty, sanctity, full health, fragrances of purity, of strength, which came out from within his will like many luminous clouds. And the body was so embellished by these exaltations that it was delightful to see,
beautiful, vigorous, luminous, so very healthy, with an enrapturing grace. So if the human will is healed by receiving again the life of my divine will, all the evils of the human nature will have life no more, as if by magic. That's how quickly. It's not magic, it's divine intervention, but it will be so quick, so powerful, so complete. I think it's magic. This initiation of the I suppose I'll share one more quick quote before I move on. Because I find this very interesting as a philosophy professor. I go over the ancient Greek philosophers with my students, and when they looked at the stars at night, they were more intuitive than we are today. It all looks like a big music box. You look inside a music box, at first glance, it doesn't always make sense. It almost looks like it's a bunch of random dots just in a drum. But once that drum starts turning, beautiful music just emanates from it. Well, the ancients naturally, intuitively felt that the motion of the celestial bodies also created music, literal music. Jesus tells Luisa we'll hear that. The creation echo of the celestial fatherland contains music, the royal march, the spheres, the heavens, the sun, the sea, and all possess order and perfect harmony among themselves. They go around continuously. This order, this harmony, this going around without ever stopping, forms such admirable symphony and music that it could be said to be like the breath of the supreme fiat blowing into all created things, like many musical instruments, and forming the most beautiful of all melodies, such that if creatures could hear it, they would remain ecstatic. Now the kingdom of the supreme fiat will have the echo of the music of the celestial fatherland, and the echo of the music of creation. And that's on earth. So that's what's coming. I've got a lot more I want to share with you about what's coming, but I'll save that for my last talk tomorrow. I just wanted to get a little taste of it, so it's in the back of our minds, it's inspiring us to move forward. So I'll tell you what else I want to do in 5 talks. This is my first 5 talks that we have together. So I'm going to today, in just a few moments, I want to make sure everybody understands that there is no doubt regarding these revelations. I want everybody to feel confidence in their hearts and mind that this is certain. This really is completely authentic. So I need to go through some reasons for you to believe it, because I'm not asking anybody to take anything on my word. Next talk tonight, after we take a break, I want to talk about the signs of the times. Take a look at how the times we're living in right now, our present age, fits into the grand scheme, both in private revelation in general, and especially in Luisa's. Tomorrow, I want to talk about the gift of living in the divine will itself. This is the primary way we enter the earth, through the gift of living in the divine will, which we can receive right now, the way for the earth. I'm going to talk about its foundations, the foundations for the gift throughout the tradition of the church, so we can understand this isn't some weird artificial development. And I also want to take a look at various other private revelations throughout the 20th century that also reveal the gift, so that we can see that this is heaven's greatest desire to this gift of God's will for us. And it's everywhere once you start looking for it. Finally, my last talk, tomorrow, I want to go into more detail in the era piece. So there's a rough sketch of what's coming up for the next few talks. Okay. Who is Luisa? Can I do a little poll here, actually? Could you raise your hand if you don't know too much about Luisa or the divine will? And could you raise your hand if you know a lot about Luisa and the divine will? We're about 50-50. So I was hoping it would be about 50-50. So for some of you who know a lot about Luisa, some of this will be review, but Jesus tells Luisa to constantly choose over and over and over again. So at least you can rest assured that the more you hear about this, even if you heard it before, is very beneficial. All right, who was she? Who was Luisa? Well, a lowly Italian laywoman who received thousands of pages of revelations from Jesus. That's the simplest way of putting it. But I want to give Saint Hannibal himself. I invoked him in the beginning of this talk. You'll see why he's very important. He's a canonized saint, And he wrote, we'll hear more about his relationship to Luisa soon, but I want to introduce Luisa herself with St. Hannibal's own words. I'm taking this quote of St. Hannibal directly from the book called The Sum of My Will. It's an official biography of Luisa published by the Vatican. 100% trusted. Here's the quote. Again, St. Hannibal's own words. Luisa never, for any reason in the world, would have put into writing her intimate and prolonged communications with the revered Jesus. Communications which have been going on from the tenderest age until today, and are still continuing until who knows when. If our Lord himself had not repeatedly obliged her to do so, both personally and through holy obedience to her directors, to whom she always surrenders with enormous duress upon herself, and also with great strength and generosity, because her concept of holy obedience would even make her refuse to enter into paradise. The purest virgin, holy of God, who emerges to the singular predilection of the divine Redeemer, Jesus our Lord, who century after century increases evermore the wonders of his love. It seems that he wanted to form this virgin, he's talking about Luisa, whom he calls the littlest one he found on earth, and bereft of any education. He wanted to form Luisa into an instrument of a mission so sublime, that is, the triumph of the divine will. She receives from our Lord himself a recurring crucifixion. After all we have mentioned of her long and continuous permanence, rooted to a bed as a victim for years and years, experiencing many spiritual and physical sufferings, it might seem that the sight of this unknown virgin would be distressing, like seeing someone on his back with all the signs of pain endured in the past and current sufferings and the like. And yet, there is something admirable here. Seeing this spouse of crucified Jesus, who spends the night in painful ecstasies and sufferings of every kind, but then seeing her in the day, sitting up in bed, working with her needle and pins, nothing, absolutely nothing shows through. Nothing of someone afflicted who suffered so much during the night. No appearance of something out of the ordinary. On the contrary, she looks entirely like someone who is healthy, happy, and jovial. She talks, chats, laughs when appropriate, and even receives a few friends. Sometimes someone with a troubled heart confides in her and asks her for prayers. She listens with kindness, she comforts, but she never goes so far as to act like a prophetess. Never a word that might hint at revelations. The great comfort she offers is always one thing, always the same, the divine will. Although she does not possess any man-made knowledge, she is abundantly endowed with a wisdom that is fully celestial, the science of the saints. Her way of speaking enlightens and consoles. By nature, she is not lacking in intelligence. She studied up to the first grade when she was little. Her writing is filled with mistakes, although it is not without the appropriate terms in conformity with the revelations which seem instilled in her by our Lord. So that's St. Hannibal himself. He's repeatedly pointing out Luisa's incredible humility. And it's providential because I was just in my car the other day listening to EWTN. It was a rerun of a Mother Angelica talk. And she was saying the primary way of knowing the revelations from God is a seer dripping with humility. And I don't know of any soul who exemplifies that more than Luisa. It's only because of the intervention of the Catholic Church that we even have her right. She didn't even deem herself worthy of writing anything down. She truly is the humblest soul that I've ever read of, at least after a lady, of course. So that's what St. Hannibal thinks about Luisa. I think we should agree with him. He is a canonized saint. That quote was included in official Vatican biography. So what's the essence of this message then that encompasses thousands upon thousands of pages? Before I go into any more details and the authenticity, I want to try to give you a little sense of the overarching theme of these revelations. And I've obviously spent a lot of time with them, and I tried to boil down at least the essence of it into one page. And I don't know if I succeeded or not, but I tried. And in case anyone wants to just try and get a quick sense of what these revelations are about, I want to read you this one page. And this is from my book again. This is right in the beginning of it. And here's how I would, if I was asked again, to summarize the essence of these revelations in just a couple minutes. At this unique moment in the history of the world, The fitting time has at long last arrived in which God wishes to give us his own will, the gift that contains every imaginable gift. This gift entails not only the grace to do God's will perfectly, but also the total immersion of your human will within his divine will, so that this divine will becomes the life principle of your soul, even as your soul is now the life principle of your body. Within this gift is all love, invincible joy, perfect peace. Within it is absolute assurance of salvation. Within it is deliverance from purgatory. Within it is God's infinite pleasure. Within it is complete victory of every noble mission in one simple principle. Within it alone is the full realization of man's creation in the image and likeness of God. Within it is the culmination of deification, the fruitfulness of mystical marriage, the aspiration of the unification of wills, the essence of Marian consecration. You cannot earn this gift or merit. You can only allow God to give it to you. And in exchange for his divine will, he asks only for your loving and trusting relinquishing of the tiny pebble of your own human will. Whoever you are, no matter what, it's easy to allow him to give you his will. Simply say to him with sincerity, Jesus, I trust in you. Thy will be done. I give you my will, and in return I want to live only in your will. If you strive to converse with him continually after this manner, you can rest assured that he is giving you his will. It is that simple, just to begin with. God wishes also, I'll continue reading this quote here, this page, God wishes also to give this gift to the whole world. Pray unceasingly for the coming of the kingdom of the divine will. This is our piece I just quoted now. By way of which God's original design for the world and mankind will at last be realized. Pray with the joy and confidence that comes from knowing that the arrival of this reign is a guarantee, for it is nothing other than the full realization of the fiat voluntas tua of the Lord's Prayer which Jesus himself prayed, and thus it bears the absolute certainty of being fulfilled. His arrival is only a question of time, but you can and are now called to hasten this time. Entrust yourself completely to Our Lady, who lives more perfectly in the divine will than any other creature ever has or ever will. And she who loves you, her dear child, will ensure that you live in the will of her Son. Finally, rejoice always in the invincible and continuous peace that will inevitably inundate the soul of anyone who really believes these truths. And I'll end this one page with a couple of quick quotes from Jesus. Jesus tells Luisa, do you want that my will reigns and lives in you as life? If you truly want it, everything is done. Not too much is needed to live with my will. If your volition decides and strongly and perseveringly wants it, already you have conquered mine and made it yours. See then how easy it is to live in our will. The creature does not have to do new things, but whatever she does, that is, to carry out her life as we gave it to her, but in our will. Oh, how I would love everyone to know that if they want to live in my will, they have a queen and a powerful mother who will compensate for all they lack. She will raise them on her maternal lap. It's hard to imagine anything. Like, if you asked me to sit down and have the craziest, most optimistic, hope-filled pipe dream, I wouldn't be able to come up with something that good. And this is absolutely trustworthy as from Jesus himself. Let me try and prove that to you now, because we need to be confident in this. So why so much confidence? Anybody, of course, can get out there and make any claim, but we can tell from the situation here that this is trustworthy. So let's look at a few things to remind ourselves of that. We talked about St. Honeywell just a couple minutes ago, so I want to pick up with him. He's key to this. Pope St. John Paul II himself canonized St. Honeywell in 2004. St. Honeywell was a great priest. He was a zealous worker of many apostolates, started a school, an orphanage, 2 religious congregations. He's still well known to this day for being the founder of the Rogationists, an order dedicated to praying for the priest.